Hey, what's up, guys? Nice to see ya. Ryan, Robyn. Woo, guys, come on. Take a seat.
Thanks.
So glad that you guys could make it, right?
Wow.
Got some snacks there, right? Just kind of working on some Bible study stuff. Yeah, it's been good. Hey, guys, don't you just enjoy these summer evenings?
Oh, yeah. Man,
Like,
this is the
so
best.
nice. Be able
Love
to
it.
sit outside. It's really, really good. But Jesse, what kind of plans do you have for the summer?
Well, Chelsea and I were heading out on vacation in a couple weeks.
Nice.
We're gonna, go camping, hit the beaches, do a whole bunch of hiking. That's our kind of summer.
Awesome.
What about you, though?
Yeah. Well, for me, I mean, I really try to take the summer and really hang out with the students at HSM because they're so awesome. Of
course.
Right? I also have to speak at another youth retreat, which would be kind of fun. Looking forward to that. But just like you, I'm hoping to do some hiking and get outside, really enjoy the weather. But guys, your break must seem really weird this year, right? So, Robyn, you're on March break. How does it feel?
It's like, it feels the same as like the past couple weeks, but like, I don't know, it's just so weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. How about you, Ryan?
Man, I've been on summer break since March break.
That's so true.
Yeah,
right.
seriously.
Yeah, it's like March break, and then more breaks, right? Like 15 weeks of break, and now you're into summer break, and so the only thing that's really changed is the weather's gotten better, right?
Yeah.
But I remember when I was in school.
Wait, Roger, you can remember back that far?
Ouch. Thanks, Robyn.
Nice,
right?
Robyn. Got
Wait
him.
till I see your mother. Right?
No,
No, I'm just
please
joking.
don't.
I'm joking. But no, seriously, I do remember, being in school because I did not like school. And so when breaks came, it doesn't matter. Didn't matter what kind of break. Christmas break, great. March break, fantastic. Summer break, even better because it was longer. I mean, hey, even if I was homesick for a couple of days, that was still a great break because I just didn't enjoy school. But so many times, when it came to summer break, you had all these plans, like, I'm going to go here, I'm going to do that, I'm going to hang out with these guys and go to movies and, just have a good time.
Right. And if you were anything like I was, Roger, I'd have all these plans, but my days would basically consist of waking up, playing video games, staying up late, sleeping until noon, and repeating over and over. And by the end of my summer, oh wow, it was gone. It was gone. And it was like a missed opportunity on a great summer.
Yeah, you go to bed because it's summer break, and all of a sudden you wake up and you're going back to school. It's like, what just happened, right? And it's all over. And but it happens to all of us. We have these great plans, and we had I'm going to do this, I'm going to go there, and I'm going to accomplish this, and then we've realized that we're not. And the sad thing is also the same thing when it comes to doing good things for God. Kind of makes me think of like the Israelites. The Israelites, chosen people of God, Moses, let my people go.
Oh, okay, I remember now.
Yes,
Old Testament.
those guys. All right. Yeah, those people, the Israelites, the Old Testament guys. And, so they were given this beautiful, covenant promise by God. And God said to him, I'm going to do these great things in you and through you, but all you have to do is serve me and obey me 100% of the times. But as you read through the Old Testament over and over again, what do? I mean, they keep obeying God, then they stop obeying God, they start doing their own thing.
Hold up.
What is it?
Wait a minute. Wait, what? Why did, all those Israelites and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Didn't they have anyone to just kind of put them on the right path again, like prophets or anything like that?
Yeah, there was prophets there, right? And some of the prophets because they got big books in the Bible, like you got Jeremiah and you got Isaiah and Ezekiel, and they were those the major prophets, right? But also in the Old Testament, you had a bunch of these little minor prophets, right? And one of my favorites is a guy named Micah. Okay, now the guy has a book in the Bible named after him, so I don't think that's very minor. Okay, to me that's a pretty big deal. I don't have a book in the Bible named after him. No, that'd be kind of weird. But anyway, so Micah, he was one of those minor prophets, and he kind of spoke into a very turbulent time that the Israelites are going to. So they were once again, they kind of turned their back on God, and he was like the guy that was saying that, hey, you need to come back to God, right?
Right.
And it's almost like they were at this point where God was just kind of running out of his patience with him. So picture this kid in the mall, okay, or in the store. before. We've all been there. We've seen this kid where he's being bad or being really rude and disrespectful, just screaming at his parent. Remember, that kid?
Yeah.
Right? And we're all watching, and like this kid's being mean, and like any second mom or dad is just going to lay down the law, lay down some discipline on this kid. But you're like, wow, that parent is being really patient right now. That was not my parents, by the way. Right? And so this is kind of what's going on right here. Like Micah is saying, hey guys, God's been patient with you, but he's getting ready to bring down some discipline. Like you're not obeying, you're not doing what he wanted, right? So if you, right, turn your Bibles to Micah chapter 6. Jesse, I know you always got a Bible on you. I got mine, but you got one in your backpack. I know you do.
Always in my backpack.
Awesome. All right. You guys got on your phones, right? Okay. Yeah. So what I want you to do is I want you to look up Micah chapter 5, right?
5?
Yeah, Micah chapter 6.
Okay.
Right?
Micah chapter 6.
And but before we dive into this, I want you guys just to realize a couple of things, okay? Because the relationship that Israel, right, or the Israelites had with God is very different than the relationship we have. Okay, so picture this in your mind, okay? So they're down here, the Israelites, and God's up here, right? And God says, as long as you obey, right, good things are going to happen to you, right? As long as you honor and obey me, right? The 10 Commandments, right? And so that's kind of called the Mosaic Law, or the law that God gave Moses for the Israelites to obey.
Right.
And God says, as long as you obey those things, I'm going to bless you. But if you don't obey them, then I'm going to take away my blessings. And when God takes his hand of blessing off, then all these bad things start to happen to them. But God warned them. He goes, if you do good, right, I'll do good to you. And, so that was the type of relationship they had. And that was like under the old covenant, okay? But we got to remember today, we got this new relationship with God, right? So kind of picture it this way. So you still got God up here. He's a holy, righteous God, right, who does not like sin. He can't tolerate sin, right? But all of a sudden, Jesus kind of steps in the middle, okay? So here's us, then all of a sudden Jesus comes in, here's God. So Jesus becomes like this mediator between us and God, and he takes care of this barrier between us and God, which we know is sin, right? And so now when God looks at us, he doesn't see all the wrong we have done. He sees us through the righteous work of Jesus Christ, what Jesus did on the cross. So the relationship is restored. So instead of being this vertical relationship, now it's this horizontal relationship like this, right? So we can communicate with God, and God doesn't see our faults and our failures. He sees us, right? So, but that's not the type of relationship the Israelites had. They had a very different relationship. It was all based on obedience. If you obey, good things happen to you. You didn't obey, right? Then the blessings left, right? So this is what we need to understand when we look into the Old Testament. It was such a very different covenant, all right? So Jesse, can you read the first couple of verses there, right?
Sure.
And that would be really, really cool.
Listen to what the Lord is saying. Stand up and state your case against me. Let the mountains and the hills be called to witness your complaints. And now, O mountains, listen to the Lord's complaints. He has a case against his people. He will bring charges against Israel.
So Micah, he's bringing God's case against the people, but he's not talking to the people. What's he doing? He's talking to the mountains, right? And I'm like, why is he talking to the mountains? And I got this idea. Are the Israelites that far from God? Are they that far gone that Micah's like, you know what? I might as well just speak to the mountains because no one else is listening, Like, because that's what he's saying. Yeah. He's calling out to the mountains, right? And I just thought that's kind of really good. Okay, Robyn, you want to read verses 3 and 4?
Oh yeah, for sure. O my people, what have I done to you? What have I done to make you tired of me? Answer me. For I brought you out of Egypt and redeemed you from slavery. I sent Moses, Aaron, and Miriam to help you.
Yeah, I mean, so God asks them this really simple question, right? He says, "Hey guys, what have I done to you? Like if I've been like really mean to you, if I've been that cruel that you turn your back on me, right?" And then God reminds them, he goes, "Oh, by the way, you know that slavery thing you were in? Yeah, I took you out of that. Remember that 400 years you were in that slavery, and then all of a sudden God goes, I took you out of that. I mean, like, come on, slavery couldn't have been that great. Life expectancy not that long, right? And God goes, I took you out of that, right? And now I've given you this freedom that you can live your life your way as long as you live under this covenant that I'm giving to you, right? And so it's just like really, really good, right? And and so God is saying, like, I'm giving you all these blessings, right? And all you have to do is obey. Okay, maybe I'll explain it to you this way. Okay, so when you're born, okay, and your parents bring you home from the hospital, all right, and they bring you into their house. Okay, remember it's their house, right? And in the house is everything for you to enjoy. So as you grow up, and all of a sudden now you're a teenager, so you get to enjoy living in their home. So most of us had our own room. You guys probably got your own room in your house, right? That's a blessing that your parents give to you, right? And and there's food in the fridge. There's power. There's Wi-Fi, which is a good thing, right? And we get to enjoy all those blessings, but they're not ours. Okay, they're not yours. They belong to your parents, right? You get that, right? But and all your parents probably ask is like, hey, keep your room clean. Right? Help out around the house, be nice to your brothers, right? And then, but all of a sudden, what if you decide, you know what? I'm not going to keep my room clean anymore. I'm not going to clean up after myself. I'm not going to do my responsibilities. And you know what? I'm just not going to respect mom and dad. Mom and dad says, hey, be in by 9. You're like, I'll be in by 9 tomorrow morning. Right? And we just disrespect them. And what's going to happen? Like, what would happen in that moment, right? There'd probably be some tension.
Yeah.
There may be a few arguments. Yeah, right? And they probably have one of those family meetings, like, hey, we need to talk about this. We all dread those family meetings. And your parents will probably sit you down and say, listen, dudes, maybe not, they wouldn't say that, but, hey, Robyn, hey, Ryan, we got a problem here. You're treating this house like it's yours, and you're not obeying the rules, and you're just kind of doing your own thing, and that's not going to work. Things have to change. And that's what's happening here in Scripture. God goes, I got all these blessings for you, but you're breaking all the rules, right? So guess what? You're going to lose the blessings, right? Just like, you guys at home, you start breaking all the rules, then all of a sudden your parents are like, well, you know what? You're grounded. You know what? I'm taking that from you. You know what? This is really bad. Maybe you should leave. I know that sounds kind of extreme, but we know that it happens, right? And, and I think, all of a sudden, the Israelites, they started doing, things their own way. And God was saying, you know what? I'm getting ready to bring a case before you, and I'm going to do some righteous judgment on you. And that's what's about to happen right here in this text.
Hold on, Roger, I don't think it was only a problem for the Israelites of, becoming uninterested with God. Like, I think a lot of us today, we actually have a hard time with that too.
Okay, so what do you mean by that?
Like, it's not that hard to slip into these ruts where we just become uninterested in living for God, even if we still believe in that God, right? Like, we encourage you guys all the time to live God out loud, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, why does it seem like we get tired or even bored at times of living for the God that we say we believe in?
That's a good question. Yeah.
We all want the blessings of God, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course. So why would we get tired of living for a God who sent us Jesus? And because he sent us Jesus, we get salvation. Okay, we get this incredible relationship with God. We've got the gift of the Holy Spirit living in us, empowering us through our day. God's given us an identity. We know who we are. We have a purpose for being on earth. Honestly, if we were to go around the table here and just talk about all the good stuff and all the blessings that God's put into our life and he's given us, we'd be here all night.
Yeah. Wow, Jesse, I really like the way you guys are thinking, but let's go back to Micah chapter 6, because I think you guys are really going to like what he says in verse number 8. Hey, Ryan, can you read verse 8 for us?
Yeah. It says, "Know, O people, the Lord has told you what is good, and this is what he requires of you, to do what is right, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God."
All right, did you see that? Micah says to the guys here, or to Israel, he says, listen, there's only 3 things that, God requires of you, right? And so what are they, right? So look again, right there in verse number 8, and it says that, the Lord just says, hey, you got to do what's right, love mercy, and to walk humbly before God. Those are the 3 things that he simply said to them. And if you do these things, then you get those blessings back, you won't get the judgment.
Okay, that's great, Roger, but how does that apply to us?
Okay, that is a really, really good question, right? So remember, like Jesse said that, we try our best to always encourage you, just to keep living out loud for God. And even though we're in a different relationship with God, and we have Jesus who is our mediator between us and God, and we got this great relationship, and, we do want to live God out loud, right? And we want to serve God on a regular basis. But I believe if we take these three things and we apply it to our lives now, what we can actually do is up the game. We can just up the game when it comes to living God out loud in 2020, right? Even in the midst of all that we're going through. So why don't we just take each one of them and just break them down? So let's look at the first one that Micah says here, all right? And he says here, to do what's right, or to act justly. So Jesse, what do you think it means to act justly?
Well, think of it like this, okay? If we're honest, and let's all be honest for a minute, okay? We all have people in our life that we don't like, okay? It's just the way it is. And maybe you don't call them names, and maybe you're not mean to them, but we exclude them from our life, right? And the idea here of acting justly, right? It's all about how we deal with people and dealing with them in a fair way. Like, come on, okay? It is so easy to be kind and nice to the people we like.
It's true.
But God's telling us to be nice to the people we don't like. And as blessed people by God, right? Trying to live a life for God, okay? We're called to live to a certain standard on how we treat people, okay? And God gives us the standard, all right? So Ryan, actually, would you read Romans chapter 2, verse 11 for us?
Yeah, I actually don't have to look that up.
Okay.
Because I know it from my heart.
Oh, come on.
Not to brag or anything, but
Let's hear it.
for God does not show favoritism.
What? Nice. Good
Boom.
job, buddy. That's impressive.
Yeah, God shows no favoritism, right? He treats all of us the same. He loves all of us equally, okay? He sent Jesus to die for all of humanity, not just some of humanity, right? God set this standard, right? We read about it in the Bible, and God set the example on how we're supposed to be treating people. So, if we want to up our game, okay, on, how we live God out loud, just be nice, right? It's actually not that complicated, okay? The challenge is to consistently treat people well, like be nice to everyone, all right? Here's something for you. Okay, treat all people the way that you want God to treat you.
Oh, that's good.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah.
Wow, Jesse, that's really good, and thanks. But that takes us to the second one. And Micah says here that we need to love mercy, okay? But before we dive into this, why don't we just ask ourselves, like, what is mercy? Like, what does it mean to show mercy? So, what is mercy? Like, to you, what is mercy?
Mercy is like...
That's okay.
Forgiveness?
Okay, all right, that's good. Yeah, you're right. In some ways it is, right? But Robyn, what do you think, compassion, love mercy is?
Isn't it like compassion?
Yeah, right? Yeah, it is this compassion, and it is this forgiveness. But let's kind of look at it like this. Let's just say someone has done something to you, right? And they deserve to be punished for what they did. But what you do instead is you're like, I'm going to choose to forgive you. Even though it's my power, my right to bring this judgment against you, I'm going to forgive you, right? And I'm going to show you compassion. And God goes, we need to love that. We need to love that mercy. Because let's be honest, we live in a culture that's so selfish and so in on themselves, right? I mean, culture constantly says, how can I get what I want, right? Like, how can I accomplish my goals? I mean, this is what I want to do, and this is what I want to achieve, and this is what I believe. And if you don't fit into what I want and what I think, what I believe, then you're just a hater. That sounds kind of tough, but that's all about us. But I think what the Bible is saying here is that we need to love mercy, because let's be honest, all around us, there's people who are hurting. And there's people that need care, and there's people that need compassion. But when we're so focused on what we want, then we don't focus on what other people want. And I think if we want to up our game, when to live God out loud, I think we just got to love mercy. I mean, Jesus himself said, blessed are the merciful, and if we do that, I mean, I think we just got to say, hey, that person needs my help right now. I want to do this, but this person needs my help. So think about it. Maybe it's someone in your family, and they're just going through a rough time. Maybe it's a friend. Maybe it's the neighbor across the street or just going through a rough time. Maybe they lost a loved one, or maybe they're lonely and they just need somebody in their lives right now. So I think this whole idea of loving mercy is to step out of our comfort zone, not think about ourselves, but show compassion to those around us. But that's sometimes what we do. We're like, oh, well, when someone asks me, I'll do it, right? Why do we have to wait for our church to organize something, or, someone in the community to say, hey, let's go do this? Why can't we just get up and say, hey, there's a need in my neighborhood, there's a need in my city, and I think I can meet that need, right? So why don't I say, hey, my neighbor, I think I can go cut his grass for free, Hey, you know what? I'm going to volunteer at the soup kitchen. I'm going to call the food bank, see if they need any help this week. You know what? I'm going to reach out to that nursing home and see, maybe I can just go and help. Maybe I can just show compassion. Maybe I can be like Jesus, right? And honestly, guys, I think we want to live God out loud, but I think the only way to live God out loud is to love mercy and say, hey, where's the needs around me? How can I meet them? And I think that's what he's talking about here, right? So be nice, be kind, right? But then just show mercy, show some compassion to this world. And I think we can do it.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I guess you weren't kidding when you said that these things were simple but hard to do.
Yeah, I don't think I want to hear the third one.
Okay, well, let me give you the third one anyway. I know, it sounds simple, but they're really hard to do. But I think we can do this. So here's the third one. Walk humbly before God. All right, so my question is, what does it look like for us to walk humbly before God?
Hey, Roger, something I've noticed, proud people, they don't need God.
Okay, explain that.
Well, prideful people, right? They believe that they can do everything on their own, they use their own abilities, and they don't need to trust God for anything.
Yeah, whereas humility is the opposite, right? Humility says, hey, wait a second, I can't do this on my own. I need God. Now, when it comes to living for God in this whole idea of humility, I'm going to throw something at you and see what you think of this, okay? Because I think living for God is this balance between attitude without the arrogance. Okay, I know. Just hang on. I'll explain this, right? So we have this incredible identity in Christ, right? And which says to us that, when we are dependent on God, right, we can do all things, right? And we can get through all things. And so in a way, we could have this little bit of attitude, like, yeah, I'm a child of God. Yeah, I can live for God. And yeah, I'm really good. And look what I can accomplish through God. But sometimes we can get a little bit arrogant in that, and I don't think that's right. I think sometimes we just got to humble ourselves. And here's why. If you look in your Bibles to Matthew chapter 23 and verse 12, and this is what it says. It says, where am I? Yeah, here we go. But those who exalt themselves will be humbled. Okay, so those people that lift themselves up, God says they're going to be humbled. But he says, but those who humble themselves will be exalted, right? So the whole idea here is like, hey, you need to humble yourself before God. And then God says, I'm going to lift you up, right?
Mm-hmm. So wait, Roger, how can we grow in our humility?
Okay. That's really good. So let me see if I can explain it to you this way. So I think the first way to grow in our humility is to, kind of Ryan, like seeking God in all that we do. Okay? So because there's this verse. Hang on, where is it? Psalms chapter 25. Let me find this here for you. Psalms chapter 25. It's coming here. Psalms chapter 25, verse 9. And this is what it says here. It says, He, God, leads the humble. Okay? So the whole idea here is seeking God in everything we do. All right? And here's why. All right? Because it says, He, God, leads the humble in doing right, and He teaches them along the way. So so we need to walk in this humility by seeking God in everything we do. Because when we seek God, right, and we're humble that, hey, God, I really need you in this, then we're teachable. And then when we're teachable, right, then we just kind of obey and we listen to God more, right? And the other thing I believe is that walking humbly before God is to realize, yeah, we got this great identity in Christ, but yeah, I need God, right? So I'm going to acknowledge God and I'm going to be teachable, but I also have to serve others. I think this is the important part, okay? And so Mark chapter 10, verse 45 says, Jesus is saying, listen, I didn't come to be served. Because remember, Jesus could have came, flexed his God muscles, right? Like, I'm God, serve me. But he didn't do that, right? Yeah. So instead, what he did, he said, I come to serve, even to the point where I'm going to lay down my life as a ransom for many. Okay? So I get it. Sometimes these things are hard to do, but let's kind of put all three of them together here, okay? And so this is kind of what I came up with here. It says, so we take all these three things together, okay? So in one statement, here it is. Doing what's right and showing mercy is a demonstration of us walking humbly with God. You like that? I like that.
That's
okay.
Good.
I think this is so good for us to live by. So let's kind of put it all together. We want to up our game, right? Because come on, we need to live God out loud. We have to. We got to raise the bar here, right? So we want to up our game when it comes to living God out loud. We need to, number one, do what's right. We got to show mercy, and when we do those two things, it demonstrates us walking humbly with our God. It is so good, right? I like this.
Man,
right?
that's so awesome, Roger. But this all actually reminds me of Galatians 6:9. Okay, listen to this. So let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up.
Yeah. Now, also, look at this right here. Matthew 5:16. Remember what Jesus says here? Jesus says, hey, let people see your good deeds, right? Why? Okay? So we can't get tired of doing what's good, right? And because we can't get lazy in living our faith, right? We can't get tired, right? Because when we do good things, right, people will see them and hopefully it will draw them into Jesus. Like, why are you doing these things? Because you're walking humbly. You are showing mercy. You're doing what's right. Okay? So listen, if your relationship with God ever gets boring, right? And you're like, yeah, I'm kind of bored. Maybe you're not doing those three things. Maybe you're just not upping your game. And I think we need to do this, right, Ryan?
Yeah.
Come on. We just got to say, I'm going to do what's right. And Robyn, I'm going to show mercy, and like Jesse, I'm just going to walk humbly before God. Yeah, I got this great relationship and it feels good, but I can't do it on my own, right? And I just can't get tired in doing this. Right, Ryan?
Yes.
Yes, right? Awesome. So did you enjoy the cantaloupe, my friend?
Oh.
Yeah, it was good.
So good.
Right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Wow, man, I didn't realize our conversation tonight was going to go like this, but this is really good.
This has been awesome.
Yeah, just nice to kind of hang out and catch up.
Yeah.
Right? It was really good.
It was
All right, cool. Just 1 second.
Oh.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Hey everybody, thank you so very much for, jumping in on our conversation here in my backyard. And I hope you really got what we were trying to communicate to you tonight, is that we just really need to up our game when it comes to living God out loud and taking some cues right from Micah way back when he was talking to the Israelites. Because I think we need to do this. We need to, number one, just be nice, just be nice to people and just to show mercy, find a need and fill it. And then also walk humbly with God. Yeah, you got this great relationship with God, but also realize that you need Him every day of your life. And when we humble ourselves before God, we become teachable, and God shows us amazing things how He wants us to live. But listen, I'm going to get back to my company. Have a great week. We'll see you soon. All right.
Hey.
All right.